rapper.
Did you ever meet Sylvia?
No, never met her. But I'm very good friends with her grandson.
Okay.
Yeah, Donnell. So shout out to him.
Shout out to Donnell.
I was just saw him like 3 days ago. That's crazy.
Shout out. Legend.
Yeah. So long story short, when she put that record out, which people don't know, had it not been for a woman record executive, we wouldn't even know hip hop the way we know it.
She saw the opportunity.
She was the first. She saw the opportunity to make hip hop what it is.
Was she black? Or was she?
She's a black woman. She's an R&B singer.
Wow.
Okay. Shout out to black women.
So she had her first big hit was "Love Is Strange"
And what
in
was
the
her name again?
60s. Sylvia Robinson.
Okay, Sylvia. We're talking about Sylvia. Okay.
Right. So long story short, she took her money, moved to T-Neck, and started a record company.
Oh shit.
And the first record was Rapper's Delight.
So
And here we are with hip hop.
That's crazy.
That's so
2018.
crazy.
She fucking took a chance.
Yeah, that black women born
That
hip hop
changed the fucking world, yo.
I mean, I feel like we're the first to say that right now.
Yeah, where I never heard that side.
Yeah,
I'm
black
breaking
women
it down
born
to
hip hop.
y'all. I'm
That's
gonna give y'all
crazy.
a game today.
Yeah.
Okay, give it to us.
I'm gonna give y'all a game.
So we actually owe homage a little bit.
Hell yeah.
to black
So
women. Shout
yeah,
out.
you gotta shout out Sylvia Robinson, rest her soul.
God
So
rest
she
her soul.
passed away. I want to say four years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, so that it was really the beginnings of hip hop on wax.
Gotcha.
So after that record, then it was Spoonie G. Then it was after Spoonie G, it was Flash and Treacherous 3, and I can go on and on and on. But after that record companies started to see that it was viable.
Yeah, it was profit there.
It was profit in hip hop.
Okay.
But the problem was it was only regional profit. Because I'm telling you, back then, with the exception, aside from Rapper's Delight, people were starting to put out independent stuff, and they was doing like 100,000 units in New York alone.
So what was,
Out selling records
the trunk.
just out the trunk, basically.
what was the energy like for you when you first heard Rapper's Delight? Like,
Man, I
that shit
lost
made
my
you feel,
mind.
hearing it on the radio. and
Because
shit.
it was crazy. Because nobody never heard it on the radio. Everybody was just heard at the jams in the park.
did you? So you heard it in the hood first. So you going like the park and like
Yeah,
playing
because it was hip hop at that time was something you had to hear live.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was
couldn't find it. It wasn't,
it wasn't
in
like
stores.
recorded on
it wasn't
cassette.
on TV.
It wasn't on TV. It wasn't nothing. You just had to be there. If you wasn't there, you missed it. You know what I'm saying?
Revolution will not be
paid
televised.
you paid to go to the jam. The jam was what? $3 to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a $3 jam. Ladies free all night. Back then it was cheap to party. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So so that's basically what happened. And hold on, let me sip this a little
There you
bit.
go. Take your
Good.
time.
Take your time.
So that's basically where the origins of hip hop on records began. I mean,
Okay.
the origins of hip hop is even earlier than that.
Okay.
But
That was like the big cross to the masses. That was
Right,
for the
to the
masses.
that was
Okay.
for the masses. Correct. Yep.
Okay, so what about when it came time for you to start Crosso? Like where do you fit in that timeline when you're starting to come into the game? Like what's popping on the radio?
All right. Well, how I got into the game basically was dang, I'm breaking my age down crazy.
Yo, fuck
All
it,
right,
man.
so
Hey,
this-
that's wisdom, yo.
this-
Yo,
so this
listen,
is
I'm,
what
I'm
shame.
33.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
so in 1985,
I was
right?
one.
Okay. So 1985, I started to build what I thought at the time was a little recording studio in my apartment in Brooklyn. So
Shout out to BK.
So my mom, as a teenager and to stay away from trouble,
Yeah,
she finally decided to buy me a keyboard.
that's what's up.
So I had her buy me a keyboard one Christmas. I had my dad buy me a mixer. And I borrowed somebody's turntable, some friend of mine. I never gave it back to this day. And a cousin of mine was moving and they got rid of their turntable. So I had two wrong turntables and this mixer. And basically that's how I started producing. So at the time, I started to do these little beat tapes and play it for my friends in, high school, middle school, whatever.
Gotcha.
They go, yo, this is kind of good. I'm like, okay, cool. So I used to try to take the tapes and put 4 or 5 beats and then send them out to record labels. Nobody called me.
I mean, at the time, like are you doing the sound that's out, or are you like changing the sound? And the labels at the time, what kind of music they're doing? Like, because hip hop hadn't really crossed over fully.
At that time, there was only 4 real hip hop record companies.
So we're talking about Def Jam, Def Jam.
It was Party Time before it was Def Jam.
Okay.
It was Party Time. It was Sleeping Bag Records. It was I want to say Vintertainment, which is was around. And these are all New York labels. Sound of New York, which
Gotcha.
Teddy Riley came from.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Shout out Teddy Riley.
So we
absolutely.
So we was all doing this around that time.
Yeah.
So those record companies, I tried to, finagle my way in, but I was so young, nobody really took me seriously. And then by 88, a twist of fate happened. They started to do this house music thing and all that, and then I started producing that a little bit.
Okay.
But in the process of doing that, I was starting my first year of college, and I went to a party, and I met this singer, and she was looking for dancers. So I wound up being a hip hop dancer in her video, and I was going on tour.
Hey, fuck it. That's how Tupac, Diddy started.
So
right?
now, so that's where I learned the business.
Nice.
Because
Okay.
before that, I really didn't know the business.
Mm-hmm.
So from that experience, being on the road and seeing what was going on behind the scenes, it was like, oh, okay, cool. This is how this game really worked. You know what I mean? And then I started plugging my music away. And then by early 90s, I was doing dance records and house music and whatever. And then by 93, 94, then I'm like, I'm going hip hop full force.
Full throttle. Yeah.
Full throttle hip hop, stepping on the gas with this. And then everything from that point on just, worked itself out. And here I am.
All right. So, I mean, to talk about the part that works itself out, like your first big record was with Lil' Kim, hardcore, or you had a big
That's like the first big credit I saw.
No, actually, before that, I did New Jersey Drive.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
The soundtrack?
Yeah,
Nice.
That was before that. So
Okay. So you who's in Tupac's? No, who's in New Jersey Drive?
Nah, it was
some new cats.
Why am I feeling like I've seen this movie 100 million
like
times,
Omar
right?
Epps or some shit.
Yeah.
So I worked
Young
on
Omar
that.
Epps, I think, was in it.
I worked on that soundtrack. I did a song called "Do What You Want," and I played keyboards on the Biggie and Total record with Chucky, which is the "Can't You See" record.
Oh, word.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
So
that's
yo,
huge.
what was that studio session like?
Bro, you see the plaque on the wall? What you talking about?
Yo, but we gotta do it for the listeners.
But yeah, man, that's where I come in. I feel like you was there, you saw it, you was a part of it, but did you know what you were doing? Like, it's like I was saving that for like the Lil' Kim, because what she did in hip hop, she made hip hop sexy. She made rap sexy.
Right.
Because before
I
her,
got a
all
lot
the
to tell you
female,
about that. But go ahead.
all the female artists was like real tomboyish, with
Right.
the rowdy, real hood.
Right.
She made it sexy. She was showing up lingerie, and she was real raunchy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that shit changed everything for women in hip hop.
Well, the crazy thing about that is it didn't really start out that way for her because she didn't even want to go that route initially. People don't know that.
Yeah.
So, long story short, we're working on the hardcore record, and the song we did was maybe one of the last ones she did for the record, and maybe like 3 other songs that didn't make the cut. But it was one of the last songs that she did. And she
You did Mafia Land, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And long story short, they wanted her to do that, and she was like, nah. So after a while, they finally convinced her to do a photo shoot just to make it sexy, and they just said, well, we're just gonna do it just to do it.
Yeah. What shoot is this? Is this for the
one that the infamous
The
poster?
cover
Oh, when she crouches
squat?
down.
Yeah.
So she didn't initially want to do that at all. It wasn't her look.
The whole album cover wasn't even her look in her head.
Okay.
So
Because she was what? She was like 19 at the time, right? Or younger?
Yeah, she could have been barely
Probably like 19,
early
20.
20s?
21.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
All
She's
right.
about 21 at
So
the
yeah,
time.
she probably still a little scared of being in the limelight.
The crazy part about that too is that people don't know she's in a Slick Rick video even before that.
Oh shit!
I didn't know that either. Do you know-
Teenage Love. She's in that.
She's in
Love.
Teenage Love.
Yeah,
Yo,
she's in that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go find
Don't
that.
hurt me again.
Hold on. Slick Rick, Teenage Love,
She's in that.
Lil Kim.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
crazy.
Kim, I had to do that too.
Yeah.
Little Kim, Slick Rick. I'm gonna add on this too. Like, yo, Kim, I see you early in the game.
Yeah, she in that
Oh,
video.
that's crazy.
But yeah, so for her, she wasn't really interested in being this sex
The
kitten.
sex figure.
Yeah, that wasn't
sex
her
icon.
thing. So when the album comes out and they decided to use Atlantic and her label decided to use that album cover and use that picture to promote it, she went through the roof.
Oh man.
She went MIA for about a week. Record company, MTV, nobody could find her. She was mad as hell.
Well, how much of the album was done then? Once they started putting the promo out.
Well, they didn't put that the infamous picture out until the album was done and
Okay.
it was already going to radio and marketing and all that. She didn't even know it was going to be a poster
Yeah.
until she saw the poster on the street herself.
So they tell her, yo, you gotta sign
So
these.
she was mad as hell, but it wasn't nothing she could do about it.
Yeah.
It helped us sell records. So
But how did it feel like in the studio? Because y'all was changing history.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean-
I know that pressure wasn't there. It didn't feel like it, but like now looking back at it,
Well,
y'all
yeah.
really
Even
changed
with
the
that
course.
record Total, Can't You See, which
Yeah.
was a fucking
Huge.
big record.
Yeah.
So you're in the studio, like walk us through that. You're in the studio.
they
you know,
wasn't there. It was just, for me, it was just work, show up in the room, play some keys on something, and that was that. In fact, they hadn't even recorded it yet.
Okay.
Oh, you was just sounding instrumental.
Right. So Chucky had done most of the record. Puff wanted that beat Jack. So Chucky
Puff
was
wanted to beat Jack. Yo,
of course
I
he did. Right?
swear.
That's the straight with it.
Puffy.
so Chucky is in Daddy's house, knocks it out. I come in, I play one or two things because he's a musician too. He could have played it, but you know, and that was that. And then before you know it, that winds up being a record. And then before you know it, Big's on it because Big wasn't even on it initially.
Yeah.
But you knew at the time,
Because Diddy was trying to push.
Because the big version is the
out.
remix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the original record. I remember the original record came out, and that did whatever it did. But when Biggie came out with his verse, that's
was-
what we was kicking.
that was the bigger one. That was the
Giving
one
you
that
all the
got-
chicken
yeah.
heads. Yo, that shit was a hard record.
So Puff was really trying to springboard Total, and he knew Big was
Who would have helped out?
the avenue to really do that, because that was their first single. They didn't put nothing out, and he just wanted to test the waters with the soundtrack. So
Let me ask you this question, right? From your point of view, as somebody who's had his hands in so many projects and worked with other people, what do you think separates a beat maker from a producer? Because a producer doesn't necessarily have to sit on the keys per se. Like, Diddy or Dre, those are guys who are visionaries, but they
Like a
still
DJ Khaled.
hold the title. Right.
Yeah.
DJ Khaled still holds the title of a producer. And then there are people who are playing the shit out of instruments, but like
Dr.
you're a
Dre
beat maker.
is making
You're a
the
beat
beats.
maker.
yeah, well, here's the thing, right? I look at it like this. You're right. It is a difference. People who make beats, they boom bap on the MPC or the keyboard or whatever, and they come up with creative ideas to do beats. But producing a record means that you have a full understanding of what the finished product is going to sound like. Not just what the beat you did sound like. It's understanding,
They
okay,
see the bigger picture.
the bigger picture of what is this vocal going to sound like on this record? How is this record going to be mixed? What the background sound like?
So
What kind
the
of
producer
reverb
is like
effect?
responsible for the record itself. Like
Correct.
his vision or her vision is going to be what makes the record successful.
Correct. So it's not only just making the beat, it's really seeing the project all the way through technically and musically till it's mixed and on the radio. Mixed, mastered, and on the radio. The producer's the person responsible for it up until that point.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Lil' Kim walks into the studio to do
that's funny.
the record. You walk us through that.
Yeah, so what
what's
happened?
the young
So
Kim
once,
like,
so once
you
she
know?
gets the blowback from all the posters and everything, once she settled down as everything rolling out, what was her
Well, let
what
me-
was her
bring us
attitude?
into the studio.
Well, let me backtrack a little bit to how that even all came about. So I'm in my studio one day. Total's road manager comes to the studio and she brings this guy with her.
Shout out to Total.
Shout out to Scarlett, wherever she is.
Scarlett, we love you.
Yeah. So she comes with this guy, and I don't know him from a can of paint. And we're doing some work, and I'm playing her some stuff for them. So he goes, yo, you got hip hop stuff? I'm like, yeah. So I play him a couple beats. He's like, yo, you know, give me a beat cassette. And I'm like, dude, I don't really know you like that.
Shout out to B Cassettes. You MP3 motherfucker.
Yeah.
Cassette was
Correct.
real work.
Yeah, man, the shit was real back then. I'm telling you. So boom. So I'm like, yo, I don't know if I want to get this nigga my shit. I don't know this nigga. I just met this nigga today. Fuck, he talking about giving him some shit to play. He's
That's
like,
some real
yo.
New York shit right
Yeah,
there.
word. Yo, let me hold that.
I don't even know this right here, man. What the fuck you talking about?
So that's what I'm saying in my head. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna give him like 4 or 5. Right? That was on a Tuesday. So that Thursday, I gave him my number, everything. Mind you, I don't know him. That Thursday, he calls me. He goes, yo, what up? I'm like, yo, what's good? He's like, yo, this is Hawk. Shout out to Hawk. This is my man. Turns out he's Biggie's road manager.
Oh, okay.
Right? But he didn't tell me that because I guess he didn't want to.
Right,
He didn't want
You
He didn't want to
all
drop
right.
You to get all
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right? So
And this is Biggie during what era? This is like
this
Juicy.
is
right after
Ready to Die. This,
Ready to Die, Biggie. Okay.
this is before Tupac drama, all of that.
Okay. Early on.
So boom. So he goes, yo, look, I think I might have something for you. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I'm gonna call you back later on the date. He's like, look, I'm playing the joints for the A&R at the and the CEO of the label, and they want to fuck with one of your joints.
Nice.
All right.
Like, word? They said the only thing is they want you to flip this other record. I was like, okay, what's the record? So it turns out to be a Michael Jackson sample.
Okay.
So he's like, yo, how soon could you get that back to me? I'm like, yo, give me 2 hours. He's like, bet.
Yo, shout out to that work ethic too.
emails,
Before
sending
sending
links. Give me 2
Oh,
hours.
man.
You know what I mean?
Sound like an assassin.
That means he has to get the actual tapes
So-
and do all this.
That's a straight mercenary right
So
there.
wait, so here's the crazy part, right? So he say, all right, bet. So I was like, so what do you mean, how I'm gonna get it to you? He's like, come down to the office, bring it to the office in 2 hours. Hang up the phone,
Getting busy.
banging it out, finish my track, do the Michael Jackson track. So I get to the office and I'm thinking it's a office. So he gives me the address and I'm like, Washington Street, Brooklyn. I'm like, what?
That's some real hood shit.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Shit
fuck?
be like a corner
I'm like,
store.
It sounds like a setup.
Yo,
to
I'm
the
like,
bodega.
yo, what the hell record company is gonna be on Washington Avenue? So I get down there, it's this building, regular